You try this without God, you tripping. You tripping. See, for every time you have a plan, an aspiration, or a goal, this thing comes along called life. It happens to everybody. You're gonna lose somebody you care about one day. Somebody gonna close the plant you thought was gonna stay open so you could retire. That's a false hope to think you're gonna have a wonderfully carefree life.
I'm wondering this morning if there's anybody here that life has handed you something that you didn't expect. The one thing I can tell you for sure is that nothing is for sure. Life will often disrupt what you expected. That just as soon as you have it down in a nice, neat little box of how you think it's gonna go, it will never be what you expected it to be. So you gotta get used to being a little disappointed. You gotta get used to being a little bit shocked. You gotta get used to walking into situations and being flexible and adjustable. Because if you are not flexible, you cannot survive.
Sometimes we look at pieces in our lives that don't make sense. The key is what we do in our times of pain. Pain will change us. Every painful time, even though you don't like it, it's developing something in you that can only be developed in the tough times. Eventually, that will pass. You'll get through it, but you will be different in those tough times.
Many of you know that God will make things uncomfortable to get you out of your comfort zone, to put you in a place of purpose and destiny, to rise to the height of your calling and soar above your adversities and fly like the eagle you were created to be.
God never said that we would understand everything that happens along the way, but He did promise that it would all work out for our good. The key is what we do in our times of pain. If you go through a divorce, a legal battle, a friend betrays you, eventually that will pass. You'll get through it, but you will be different. Now, how the pain changes you is up to you. You can come out bitter, or you can come out better. You can come out with a chip on your shoulder blaming God, or you can come out stronger with a greater confidence in God. You can come out defeated, giving up on your dreams, or you can come out with a new passion, a new fire, excited about the new opportunities in front of you. All of us experience pain. My challenge, don't just go through it, grow through it. That difficulty is an opportunity to get stronger, to develop character, to gain new confidence. Anybody can give up. Anybody can let it overwhelm you. But you know what that's doing? Wasting your pain. That pain is not there to stop you. It's there to prepare you, to increase you, to develop you.
God is a merciful God. He didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't set you up to fail. You're tripping, man. Even if you're wrong, He forgives us. Just keep moving, man. It ain't nothing. Now look, I've had some painful moments in this like you. But hey, I look for the bright side, man. I expect something good to happen.
See, whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective. See, a lot of us, because of our limited vision of ourselves, a lot of us who begin to focus on problems and enable them to overwhelm us, we begin to think that we have no options. We begin to believe that there's no way out. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences.
You're going to go through things that are not fair. It's easy to live discouraged, but if you'll just stay in faith and keep moving forward, in time, God will make all things beautiful. Nothing beautiful about going through a loss or dealing with an illness. Just give it some time. You don't have to live worried. God is working behind the scenes. What you thought was going to limit you the rest of your life, the bad break, the mistake you made, that is not how your story ends. Beauty is coming. It's going to turn out better than you've imagined. God will make all things beautiful. Not just the good breaks, not just the promotions, that's obvious. But He'll make the disappointments, the mistakes. That's how awesome our God is. Don't give up on your dreams. Bitter over the person that walked away or upset over the contract that should have been yours. Let it go. God saw what happened. He said He would pay you back double for the wrongs. He just needs some time. Now, while you're waiting, stay in faith. When is it ever going to turn around? This is not fair. Pass the test. Keep going to work with a good attitude. At the right time, you're going to see Him show out in your life in such a way that you don't think about what you've lost. You're so fulfilled, you don't dwell on the negative things in your past. You keep honoring God, and He's going to make up for what you didn't get. He's going to have the right people come to you to push you into your purpose. He knows who left you out. He knows the times you didn't think you could go on. He's going to do something awesome in your life. Perhaps you went through a breakup. You're hurting. You're lonely. God is not finished. He's not going to leave you depressed. He has someone amazing coming where you're going to be happier and more fulfilled than you've ever been. Don't judge the rest of your life by one difficult season. Thoughts will tell you it's never going to change. Just accept it. Don't believe those lies. God promised He will make all things beautiful. Now here's the key. Just give it some time. The mistake we make often is we get in a hurry. Voices whisper, if it was going to happen, come on, man, it would have happened by now. Trust the process. All things in its time will be beautiful. If it hasn't happened yet, then it hasn't been the right time. When it's your time to see beauty, promotion, vindication, it will happen. How we wait is important. If we wait upset, God, why did these people do me wrong? That's going to delay the beauty. The right way to wait is in an attitude of faith, knowing that He's working all things for your good, expecting His favor. This difficulty didn't come to stay, it came to pass. God being for me is more than the world being against me. God knows how to make all things beautiful if you'll just give Him the time. You don't understand, it wasn't fair, just keep moving forward. God is not going to waste anything you went through. You're about to come out to new levels, see favor that you've never seen. Quit believing those lies that you've had too many bad breaks. You have a good reason to live sour. Look at what you've been through. That was all setting you up for something you've never imagined. Things that were meant to harm you, struggles that have tried to discourage you, bad breaks that should have limited your life. This is a new day. You're about to see vindication, new opportunities. The tide is turning in your favor. What was meant for your harm, God is turning to your advantage. That there's a time for weeping, a time for loss, but that is not the end of the story. God also said He will make all things beautiful in its time. There's a time for restoration, a time for deliverance, a time for celebration. Give God the time, He'll make all things beautiful.
And here's what I want to say to you. For those of you that have experienced some hardships, don't give up on your dream.
Working harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because here's what we know. There's no such thing as job security. Here's what we know. The impact of the coronavirus on your ability to stay employed, the impact of the coronavirus has been devastating. Devastating. And this is a time that you have to look at you. You have to learn something new, something that you love, and something that you can get training and coaching on from someone who's experienced and trained in that area to accelerate your growth and credibility and development, so that you can have something else going for you other than a job. I want to help you do that. And for those of you who are already there and want to do what those young people do, I like what the young folks, they talk about BYOB, be your own boss. If you're ready, I want you to put voice in the comment section. Put voice in the comment section. I've been thinking about what I'm going to share with you today. And I've been tracing my tracks. People are always asking me, what did you do differently than others, the thousands of other speakers out here that allowed you to become a national and an international voice of motivation and greatness? And part of the process is I decided I wanted something new for myself. I wanted something new for my family. And I wanted to be able to control my own destiny. I didn't want to be a volunteer victim. We've been conditioned, we've been trained for a job. Things have changed. You got to be an entrepreneur now. You want to create something that you can control. You want to create and have something that you determine how much you're worth, not somebody else determining that. And today you have to live life like you mean it. This is no time that things have changed. We've got to change. We've got to change, and with a fierceness, because that's what it is. That the things that are dramatic and the millions of people that are emboldened and determined to hold you down, we've got to be stronger than them and more determined than them. Everybody can use this. What I'm going to talk about today, the value of improving yourself and working on yourself.
That's right, you. And why you are so important in this world. The most important thing you have to remember is that you got to stop trying to be like everybody else. Stop trying to be something that you're not meant to be. Stop trying to force yourself to be like other people. What people are and who they are and what they do, regardless if it's good or bad, that's their life, that's what they do. Now we can absorb that information, we can learn from some of that information, but when it's all said and done, you cannot take away from who you really are. The best thing you can do is make the most of the life that you have been given and push forward and get everything you can get out of it. Because you only have so much time in this world, so you got to make the most of it. Now, this thing about being like other people, we look at people, we see the success stories. Everybody's out here, some anyway, out here getting it in, doing their thing. We don't even really know how they got it, but they got it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's for you. You are here in this world for some kind of a reason, some kind of a purpose. Now, what do you do with it? We all want success, but at what cost? There are some sacrifices that you got to make, but don't sell your soul. So get out there and make the most of what you got. It's not going to be easy, I promise you that. Believe me, I know. I'm still trying to figure this thing out. But I'm not going to give up. And I will not sell my soul or sell myself short. But I will continue to work hard at what I have and what God has given me to be the best of me. Now you got to get out there and do the best of you. Because nobody's going to do you better than you. You just got to believe in it. Now there are a lot of people out there, there are a lot of motivational speakers out there, fitness guys, you name it. I can't compare myself to them, and I'm sure they don't compare themselves to me. All I can do is be the best of me. Will I make it? I'm looking forward to making it. Am I hopeful? Absolutely. But how much hope can I have? It's all about the doing part and the faith that I have to have. And that's what's going to get me to where I need to be. Will it be easy? Absolutely not. How long it's going to take? Don't know. But I'm still here, and I'm living, and I'm breathing, and I got to keep moving forward. And that's exactly what you got to do. So don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on the reality that you have a purpose in this world. Keep working hard. Dedicate yourself as best you can. Be the best makeup of yourself. Remember, you are here for a reason. Nobody's going to do you better than you. And you were made for who you are.
The work ethic's a big thing, man. Beat the sun up, that's one thing, you know, there's not a formula. It's like, what do you have to do to build a work ethic? Beating the sun up, it's just, you'll never feel bad because you beat the sun up. I don't care, you bitch about it the whole morning, all the way up until you finally wake up, and then you're gonna be like, man, I'm sure glad this was awesome. There's something happens before suns come up that is different, the most different part of the day. It makes you feel good about yourself at the end of the day. On victories, I see so many people get sucked into their own victories. And because their work ethic's broken, they don't keep working. They're like, oh, pat on the back, I got my deal. Let's go, let's take a vacation. And you see the destruction of these people. You know, Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl, he that night he's preparing for the next one. The work ethic is just, of all the top people, are so severe. So should be something. It's a great first question. Could be a whole book. Because one of the things, and the last thing I'll say on this is, this helps me, by the way. Just you asking me this, the whole thing helps me. The work ethic thing is, it's also so that you start pushing whoever you're in a space with and you're competing with. You know, you want to do some flexing. And the flexing doesn't have to be the car, because you can't just keep buying cars. You can flex work ethic. There's no budget, you can't go broke on it. It's never gonna be bad for you. It might bother your spouse. Kids, it's never gonna bother the kids. Don't kid yourself. The kids want you just enough, and then they're done. They're like, okay, get out of here. So that whole thing, they played this thing out in the 80s, I think, you know, oh, kids need quantity at the time. The kids just need a quality time. They don't want 3 hours. No kid wants 3 hours of their day. Maybe yours does, not mine does. Am I right on this? I only have 2 kids, so I don't know. And at 17, 18 years old, they're not gonna want any of my time. And then they'll come back around later when they want money. And I'll be like, go get your own money. But the work ethic, you know, I do a lot of flexing on the work ethic thing to tell people where I've been, where I'm going, how much I'm going, what I'm doing. It's not for customers. It's for my staff, and it's for the competition, for anybody that thinks they're competition. And we're convinced I'm the most disliked speaker in the space by our contemporaries.
If the person is entrepreneurial and they ask me this question, I always tell them, you know, you've got to take care of your kids, you got to pay the bills. And I said, but, you know, tell me when you work. And they tell me, well, you know, I work, 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 and I'm exhausted and everything else. I said, well, what are you doing with the other 8 hours? Because that's what I did. I worked as a janitor all night long, middle of the night, everything else. I could compress time there because it was based on results, not time. So if I could do a great job in shorter time, I had that time. But then, what I start doing between, 7 o'clock at night and 2 in the morning, which is pretty much the time I worked, that's when I was developing myself, getting the skills, learning, educating, starting the business. So I think people just have to realize it's a gut-wrenching process. It's not, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Most people fail in entrepreneurship. The vast majority fail. 96% in 10 years, but what happens after 10 years? All clear sailing after that? Anybody remember Lehman Brothers? They ran a century. They had gross revenues over a century of more than $1 trillion with a T dollars. That's what went through their bank accounts over that century, and they're gone. So I don't think it's right for everybody. I think you have to really be clear, is your personality the right personality if you're going to begin in this area? And then if you're going to work for somebody else, you can still become financially free, but that means you got to stop being a consumer and become an owner of under entrepreneurs. You want to own businesses, right? Get out of just being, don't just own an iPhone. Own the company, but not just Apple, obviously. But
how do you keep your energy up and your enthusiasm up?
How do you do it? I'm wired for it. It's my nature to some extent, but also the other part is I get to see results. I mean, who here has been touched by my work before? I'm curious. Anybody in this room? So look around the room, and how's it hard to be inspired when I'm in a room and a third or 40% or 50% have used my work? And so people come up to me every day, dozens of people a day if I'm traveling, and they tell me the most amazing stories. Outside my children and my wife, that's probably the greatest gift of my life. I never get tired of hearing it, and it just makes me want to deliver more, give more, have more impact.
You get the last word. Tell them what you want them to know.
Well, if you're entrepreneurs out there, here's what I'd say to you. I'd say, don't be so damn hard on yourself. I know that sounds counter to being an achiever, but when you're beating yourself up, you're sucking out the energy you need to move forward. It's kind of like, I always tell people there's so much energy, and I've built mine. I do a lot of things to build my energy to be incredibly strong and have really strong endurance, because to me, energy is life.
Hi, welcome back to Mind Control.
I don't have a relationship with God because I'm afraid of burning in hell. I have a relationship with God because He helps me in my day-to-day living. I have a relationship with God because if there is an eternal place to go live, I want to go see it. I figure, as long as I ain't trying to step on nobody to get to where I'm going. Look, you all gonna make mistakes. Everybody's a sinner in here. Everybody in here broken. Everybody need help. I need help. I'm broken. You need God fixing you some kind of way. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you got. You need God. But listen to me. Don't you understand that that's okay? It's all right to have a relationship with God. Having a relationship with God is really cool. And you're looking at a street dude telling you this. But He changed people, God changed people. If you followed my career any length of time, from the time I was back on the Steve Harvey show, all the way up through the Kings of Comedy, all the way up to 2005, you saw what my life was. But after 2005, He came and He got me. Because He got sick of me, and I got sick of me. See, you know what happened to me in 2005? I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was so sick of me. Y'all saw me on TV, y'all saw this money I was making. I was miserable, man. I was at my unhappiest point in life all the way up to 2005. I was miserable. We was Kings of Comedy. The only time I had a good time was when I was on stage. The only time I had a good time, I was in front of the camera. I was with Sid and the boys, we was performing. When I got off that stage, my life was miserable. I was in a pain you would not believe. I was in an abyss, man. I was in a dark place. How in the world did I get here? I got here because of God's grace. My plight had overtaken me, and I was about done. But right when you think you're about done, don't He always show up? Can you name me one single thing God ain't brought you through? Can you name it? If He ain't brought you through it, He's currently pulling you through it right now. And you know how I know that's real? Because you're sitting in here. The God I serve, you can't put no limitations on Him. If you just get out the way, He can show you something. He do miraculous things all the time. Why would you not want one of them miracles to happen for you? I'm sitting here, for me to be here today, the dude that I was, it's a miracle. We pray little prayers. We pray stuff that we see a way to get. You supposed to pray for stuff you can't see no way how you can get it. God is in to make your dream come true business. God is in to get your life together business. God is in the forgiving business. Don't let nobody fool you, man. Don't let nobody fool you. Don't forget to pray. Don't be ashamed to pray, and don't ever be too proud to pray, because prayer changes things. Prayer changed people too.
God said, I got 7,000 that I could use. I choose to use you, but I got 7,000 who are doing what you're doing. But just because they don't do it exactly like you're doing it, how arrogant of you to think that you're the only one right and the only one left and the only one I'm talking to and the only one sincere and the only one going to heaven. Your perception is off. Seer, you can't see correctly. You've gone blind. If there were only one thing that we could heal today, it would be the blindness of leaders who think they are the only ones left. And now they're in this predicament, and he's come to this point, and he's up under the juniper tree, and the real truth of the matter, he's tired. And when you get tired, you get cynical and critical and evil, and you think you're called to be the police of the church and straighten everybody out because you're the only one left. And really the only thing wrong with you is that you're tired and you're burnt out, and your love is gone. Your love is gone. Your love is gone. And you're representing a God that is love, and you have no love. and he's gotten up under the juniper tree, and he's exhausted, and he falls asleep. He needed some rest. He needed some time off stage. He was burnt out. You know what? He'd been running like crazy. You got to be here at 4 o'clock. You got to be there at 7:30. Hurry up and get dressed, honey. I'm waiting for you in the car. Hurry up, get the keys. We got to go. Busy, running faster than horses, chariots of fire, going at it. And now he's up under the juniper tree. He's worn out. And God has sent angels to minister to him. God has been feed him. He has not been fed. He is a feeder who has not been fed. Oh, I'm fed, bless God. I spend 5 days a week studying the Word of God. Just as you're studying the Word of God, that means you're being fed. Because a lot of times you're studying the Word of God to feed somebody else. You're cooking, baby. You're not eating. Everybody else is being fed. Can you imagine how they left Mount Carmel talking about, oh, glory to God, and people just go home all excited, and the man of God, look at how different. They come off the mountain excited about God. He comes off the mountain exhausted. It costs you a lot to be available to people. Yeah, and blessing people and them leaving refreshed and excited costs you a lot. And it is so crazy because the more effective you are at sending them home blessed and motivated, excited, the more likely you are to go home depleted because you gave them your courage. They left encouraged. You went home discouraged because they got all the milk out of you.
When I was facing some challenges, I had a guy say something to me, and I suggest this is one of the first things that you want to do when you're facing a challenge. You want to get unstuck. Evaluate where you are. Look at it. Assess yourself. Assess yourself and assess the situation. What brought you there? What role did you play? Earl Nightingale had a saying I like. He said, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. What has brought you to this point? What did you learn from it? Are you learning anything, or are you doing it over and over and over again? Somebody said that insanity is doing the same thing in the same way, expecting a different outcome. Are you going through it, or are you growing through it? Are you bigger and better because of it? Because it's not going to leave you until you grow through it. I was going through a major challenge in my life that was wearing me out, that was using me. And one of my students told me in a class that I was teaching, Lessons in Truth, she said, Les, until you handle it with grace, it will stay in your face. And it stayed there a long time.
So I will always be grateful for meeting someone who made a difference in how my life worked out. I am sure if Mr. Schoaf were still alive, I would have called him one more time today and thanked him for sharing the ideas and inspiration that changed my life. For many years, I shared this philosophy for wealth and happiness with my business partners and met with equally exciting results. I am primarily a businessman, not a professional public speaker, but I have been intrigued with the challenge of trying to put into words the ideas that can make a difference in how a person's life works out. And now I have the chance to share these ideas with you. I don't claim to have all the answers on how to do well, but I do have some answers that have worked extremely well for me and thousands of others. Take these ideas and edit them all you wish. You certainly don't have to buy everything any one person says, but give me a chance. If something sounds good, try it. If it doesn't make sense, discard it. Remember, don't be a follower, be a student.
Everything in our life is controlled by 3 decisions. And those 3 decisions I'd like you to look at today because I really want to deliver for you. I didn't come here to do a speech. I love Mark dearly. I really want to serve you, and you all are giving the greatest gift you have, your time. You get your money back, but you can't get your time back. And so I really want to serve you, and I think one of the most powerful things we do to serve you is have you become clear of what the controlling force is that's controlling the quality of your life. And you and I both know it's not the amount of money in your pocket, it's not who you know, it's not even what you've been through. It's really the decisions you make moment to moment about a couple of different things. The 3 decisions I made in that moment that I'd like to pull your attention to just real quick are, in this moment you're making these 3 decisions, by the way. The first one is, what are you going to focus on? And that day, my father focused clearly on the fact that he had not taken care of his family. And whatever you focus on, you're going to feel. In fact, many of us in this room, hope you ever focused on something, you were thinking something horrible was going to happen, you experienced the pain of that failure or that challenge in your life, and then it never ever happened. You've had this experience, say, and if things aren't bad in your life, you can always think of shit that hasn't even happened yet and feel bad in advance. Many people do. Because whatever you focus on, you'll feel. Write it down. Focus equals feeling, because if you start to take control of your focus, you take control of your life. But that day, he focused on the fact that clearly he failed his family, and that was the meaning. The second decision you make is, what does it mean? As soon as you look look at something, think about something, focus on it, you gotta decide, what does this mean? Is this the beginning or the end? Is this punishment or reward? Is God trying to hurt me or trying to challenge me? Or is this nothing to do with God? I was just being a lazy bastard. Right? The meanings we give to things control our life. If you think it's the end of a relationship, are you going to behave the same way as you think it's the beginning of a relationship? In the beginning of a relationship, when you're totally in love with someone, what will you do for them? Tell me, what will you do? Oh, come on, guys. What will you do when you're totally in love? Shout out, what will you do? What? What? Make the sound of what it's like when you're totally in love, out of your mind. Just go ahead and make that sound like a primal sound of what that feels like. Just go for it so we get some energy in this room. It's been a long time for some of you, I can see really clearly. Let's try this time. How about totally in love and passionately desiring this person? Like you can't wait to touch them, make love to them, be with them. Make the sound of what that would be like. Go ahead, nice and loud, go ahead. So when you have the meaning that this is the beginning of the relationship and this person's the most incredible thing and you will do what for them? What will you do? Anything. What if you were that way with your client? What if you're that way with your internal customers, called your partners? You go, well, you have real sexual problems with HR, that would be the real challenge. But if your commitment was the same, when you're in that place, you do anything in the beginning of a relationship. In the beginning of a relationship, if your partner said, would you take out the trash? What do you say? Take out the trash. Happily. But after about 7 days or 7 weeks or 7 months or 7 years or 70 years, one day someone said, we take out the trash. Go, what do I look like, your janitor? What happened to our passion? I'll give you a clue. If you want a relationship to last, if you think it's coming to the end, do what you did in the beginning and do what you be in it. Because when you think it's the beginning, you behave differently than the end.
You get pushed around all the time. And just because you hang around other dudes like you, who also get pushed around all the time, it's not normal and it's not okay, and you need to change. You with me on that? Yeah, funny guy just shifted, didn't he? So I didn't come here to entertain you today. I came here to set the stage. You need to quit playing around. The world is monkeying with your family and you let them. And there was a time in your life when you were a little girl where you knew you were going to do something great with your life. You were 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. There was some point, some time in your life you knew you were special. You knew you were supposed to do something great with your life. You knew you were going to make a difference in the world. Somewhere along the line, life started happening, a setback here, someone teased you at school, a divorce, you got into a career someone else picked for you, whatever it is, and you started to settle. You start to make excuses. You start hanging around people just like you, and they make it okay. Then you meet Kent. Then you meet this group. Now you're learning stuff, so the heat's on, man. How many of you have kids? Okay, yeah, grandkids, anybody? Awesome. You know, like when you go to your kids' plays at school, and there's 40 kids up there for the Christmas recital, who do you see? Who do you see? You don't see the other 39 kids. You're looking right at your kid, aren't you? You go to a baseball game or a soccer game for your kids, you see the other kids, but who do you watch the whole damn time? Your little one, don't you? Yes or no? I got news for you. Listen, kids are doing the same to you. They're watching you, and they're going to get to an age where they figure out who you really are. Your grandkids will figure out, they'll always love you, Grandma. They love their mama. But you get to an age in life where you figure out who they are, don't you? Think about your own parents. You love them, but you know who they are. You know whether they've changed the world. You know whether they've done something great. You know whether they just exist. Your kids are going to figure you out someday, man. Sooner than you think, too. And it ain't good enough. You can be anybody you want to be. Really, Dad? Then how come you're not? You can accomplish anything in the world you want, sweetheart. Well, why haven't you, Mom? They're watching you. I don't deliver a normal message. I love you. I'm here to shake you up and get you to remember what I say today. Because this information goes nowhere if you don't separate yourself by leveraging the pain of where you are or the pleasure of where you're going, and you best get in a damn hurry.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Please also like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and families. Please watch our other motivational videos. Thank you again.
Hurt people will go above and beyond to hurt people. Insecure people will go out of their way to create insecurities. Dysfunctional people will take a peaceful, happy, and beautiful situation and figure out a way to create dysfunction where there is none.
What we should do when somebody does us wrong, forgive them and let it drop. Leave it and let it go.
When people can walk away from you, let them walk. When people can walk away from you, let them walk.
Maybe somebody's talking about you, trying to make you look bad. You could easily be upset, offended, try to pay them back. Why don't you try a different approach? Drop it, leave it, and let it go.
I don't want you to try to talk another person into staying with you, loving you, calling you, caring about you, coming to see you, staying attached to you. I mean, hang up the phone. When people can walk away from you, let them walk.
Don't waste another minute being bitter. Drop it, leave it, let it go.
Turn your wounds into wisdom. You will be wounded many times in your life. You'll make mistakes. Some people will call them failures. But I have learned that failure is really God's way of saying, excuse me, you're moving in the wrong direction.
You literally are your surroundings. If you have a problem with your life, you should have a problem with the people in your life. You're going left and they're going right. You're going right and then they go left.
The enemy wouldn't be fighting you if you weren't a threat. Oh, get ready. Favor is about to turn things around. Favor is not going to keep you from the storm, but favor will bring you out of the storm.
What do you do when you tried and failed and you want to quit and you want to give up? Sometimes you can be blessed and be unhappy. Because even though things are going right, they're not going according to what you had believed and expected, and you know that something is missing out of your life.
Discouragement is born when we compare ourselves with somebody else. Just think about where I came from. Just think about what God started me out as and where I am today. And it's encouraging to not compare yourself with others, but to remember how far you've come and where you started.
The night seasons are not the end. The bad breaks, the disappointments, that's simply another step on the way to your destiny.
Other than death, all failure is psychological. Does not mean that you won't lose some battles, because you will. We all will. But it does mean that as long as you don't surrender, as long as you don't quit, then you haven't failed.
There are moments in our lives that we feel completely alone. We feel as though no one knows what we're going through. It is because of the uniqueness of the challenges that confront you are so unique to you that you feel like I'm up against it all by myself.
It's an uphill battle. And along that road, you're not going to see too many friends. You're going to see your shadow most often. See, the thing is, for many people, they've tried the same path you're on, and they failed. As you walk this journey, you're going to see carcasses all over the place of people that didn't quite have it. Is that your success is like a spotlight shining down on their missed opportunities. Success, many will love you for it. The majority will hate you because your success reminds them of where they could have done it, but they came up short and how they didn't revisit it. The difference between a winner and a loser, the failure's there every single time. It's just the winner gets back up and does it again until it goes his way. So now you're down that path and you're all alone.
And generally, that type of circumstance is born because it's not because you don't have anybody to talk to, but can you trust them? Eventually, even the most disciplined amongst us, the corners of your mouth will droop down. Your smile will turn into a frown. Eventually, even if you have to wait till everybody's gone to sleep, a tear will run across the bridge of your nose because you're dealing with stuff that is so deep and so complicated that you feel like you're in it by yourself. But you are not alone in the battle. You're not alone in the struggle, that God has a strategy. And when it's all over, you're going to see that even though you couldn't see him, he was there all the time.
I promise you guys, if today you never say good enough, tomorrow you'll always have enough. What I'm saying is the character of who you are. The character defines the success, defines the fame, and it starts right there. Championships aren't won in the theater of the arena. They're won in the thousands of hours in the training room, in the labs, in the 5 a.m. runs. When everyone else is sleeping, that's when it's won. The heart of a champion is a light switch that's always on. It doesn't go on and off when someone's watching. It's constant. It begins right now with no one looking, man. And how you hold yourself, how you see yourself. What do you do when no one's watching? If you do it then, I guarantee you, you'll be doing it when everyone's watching.
Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility and your responsibility alone. It's not your fault if your partner cheated and ruined your marriage, but it is for damn sure your responsibility to figure out how to take that pain and how to overcome that and build a happy life for yourself. As long as we're pointing the finger and stuck in whose fault something is, you are stuck in suffering. The road to power is in taking responsibility.
Take full responsibility for what happens to you. Accepting full responsibility. It's the day you know you've passed from childhood to adulthood. Learn to reap in the fall without apology if you do well, and without complaint if you don't. That's maturity. I used to have that long list of reasons why I wasn't doing well. I blame my negative relatives. They were always putting me down. I blame my cynical neighbors. They're just selfish, looking out for themselves. Won't loan you money? I used to blame the economy. I blame the community. That's a pretty good list for not doing well, isn't it?
The road to power is in taking responsibility. Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility and your responsibility alone. Taking responsibility, accepting responsibility is not an admission of guilt. Taking responsibility is a recognition of the power that you seize when you stop blaming people. It's not like you're letting somebody who wronged you off the hook. Taking responsibility is taking your power back.
A few months later, I learned very quickly to tear up my list, reasons for not doing well, and I threw it away. And I got me a fresh piece of paper, and I put one word on it: me. There's a Black Heritage spiritual that says, it's not my mother nor my father, nor my brother nor my sister, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's not what happens, it's what you do. If anything can go wrong, it will. That's one of Murphy's laws. So here's one of the key questions of the evening. Starting tomorrow, what are you going to do that'll make a change in your life's direction? Now see, if you don't do something starting tomorrow that'll make a difference, guess what? Because the next 5 are going to be like the last 5 unless you, major key, tomorrow, change it all. Or change a little, or change something, or don't change. It's choice time. You can do whatever you want. But it's nice to know any day you wish you can change your whole life.
We go through the actions of commitment, but we're not really committed. We're not really connected. We're not really joined because we have no understanding of our responsibility to any relationship. You cannot have true relationship without reciprocity. You cannot get into a relationship to get and not give. You collect anniversaries, you've got a lot of birthdays, but you've never been the person that you could be because the could be is locked up behind commitment, and until you're committed, you'll never get the could be. Wonder what would have happened in school if you'd been committed. Wonder what would have happened in your marriage if you'd have really thrown your whole self. You've always been casual.
In what you've done with your life thus far, is it giving you what you want? Is it giving you what you want? When you look toward the future, when you look at all that's going on out here, is there some place within yourself you say, hey, I know I need to be out there in that arena. I know I can do more than what I've been doing. Is that something that you begin to look at within yourself? See, I say if you look at your life, and if you're not getting what you want, you owe it to yourself to do something differently. If you're on a job, 85% of Americans go to jobs that they're unhappy. If you're doing something 8 hours a day that you don't like, it's not giving you what you want, it's not giving you a strong feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment. If that's what it is, you owe it to yourself to start strategically working to change directions. Most people will resist change Most people will fight change as if change would be worse than what they're experiencing. Most people will not challenge the unknown. They won't just step out there. See, there are certain things that's got to be in place. They got to see it all together. And life isn't like that. That's not how you grow. As you begin to look toward the future, begin to know that whatever it takes for you to create that, you got that. You've got genius in you. You've got goodness in you. If you decide to take the initiative to change the current quality of your life, I say to you that you will find that the universe is on your side. Will it be easy? No. Will you have some opposition? Yes. Will I make a lot of mistakes? Yes. See, a lot of people won't try anything different in life because they don't want to get hurt. Pain is everywhere. But most people spend their life not wanting to deal with the pain of rejection, the pain of being disappointed, the pain of being criticized, the pain. That's called life. But guess what? There's no gain without pain.
If you don't know exactly what you want, or you let yourself get beyond that into something general, you're not going to achieve it. Clarity is power. You got to know the specific result you're after. What do you want? Why you're doing it? Because you know what? You may get a big goal as soon as I want to make $1 billion. I want to bring peace to the earth. Why? Because as soon as you come up with a goal, all the obstacles show up. So you got to get yourself past that. And the way to get past that is have enough reasons. Reasons come first, answers come second. Task intelligent, you got to know why you want it, have enough drive to make it happen, enough juice to make it happen. If you don't have enough reasons, you will not make it happen. What is going to get you to actually fall through? Because the first plan's not going to work and the second plan's going to work, so you better have enough plans that if the first two don't work, you still got something else. Otherwise, you're going to be having excuses why it didn't work.
That's a pain. Don't you know that's something? When you know, I was in a seminar once and this lady stood up. If I had my life to live over again, she talked about all of the things that she would do. And you can feel the pain of regret in her voice. She was trying not to experience the pain of defeat, the pain of disappointment, the pain of loss, and she still experienced pain. It was right there. Most people are governed by their habits, their fears, and the opinions of others. A lot of people never try anything differently because they have been convinced by people in their lives that they value that they can't do it. They're living within the context of the opinions that other people have of them. The low expectations. Many people doubt themselves because when they thought about doing something at some critical point in their lives, somebody they respected and honored, someone they trusted said, "You can't do that." And they accepted that.